At the bottom of the screen, below Sheet tabs, you'll see an area referred to as the status bar. Very often you'll see the word Ready in the lower left corner. As you work with Excel, sometimes you take certain actions, maybe by mistake. Perhaps I've touched caps lock here. I didn't mean to do that, but I see in the lower left corner it says caps lock. Well, okay, now turn it off. It's a nice little indicator there. I also have a number lock button. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. If I press the number lock button, I might see an indicator there as well, too. But there are other uses for the status bar as well. On this worksheet, it's called 2015 Home Products Revenue. If you're curious as to what the total revenue is here, you could click the column letter I. At the bottom of the screen I'm seeing a few statistical measures here. This tells me what the average revenue is per item, the count of how many items, and actually the total revenue. That's valuable information. You can even see more here. If you right-click in the status bar, you will see a huge list of various entries. Now, some of these you might want to turn on or off. Maybe caps lock, you don't need that notification, you can turn that feature off. Here's one for number lock, scroll lock, etc. We can turn these on and off. Some of them might not mean much to you just now, but if you are in the habit of highlighting cells to quickly get a total or an average, you might also want to consider getting a minimum and a maximum, as well, without writing formulas. Even a numerical count. So, you can change these at different times. If I click outside of this checked area now, you'll see, with column I still being highlighted, I know the highest particular revenue here for any one item, $649,000. We see the total again off to the left, a minimum account of how many of those cells have numbers and so on. This is useful information, and if I go to another worksheet, called Profits, maybe someone has just asked me, what do we do in the second quarter here, in terms of sales? Now, I probably could do that math in my head, but with the numbers highlighted, I can see at the bottom of the screen that's $1,040. Since these are in thousands, it's actually $1,040,000. Second quarter expenses, highlight these, over on the right, $830,000, with these various features. So, the status bar keeps us informed as the number totals for different cells that we might have highlighted. Anytime you highlight two or more cells, and by highlight we mean with the mouse you point to a cell, hold down the left mouse button, and then possibly drag left or right to highlight other cells, we call that highlighting. Bottom of the screen gives us some interesting and worthwhile totals. So, the status bar keeps us informed as the number totals for different cells that we might have highlighted. Anytime you highlight two or more cells, and by highlight we mean with the mouse you point to a cell, hold down the left mouse button, and then possibly drag left or right to highlight other cells, we call that highlighting. Now, to the right of that are three other buttons. The one immediately to the right, called Normal, gives us the typical Excel view. The next button to the right is called Page Layout, and this is handy as we start to work with different data. Sometimes we're about to print this, we can put in headings here. This is covered later in the printing section of this course. And the button to the right of that is called Page Break Preview, and this is handy at times you're ready to print a particular worksheet, and you realize the page breaks might not be where you want, and you can move these lines around to adjust that. That's probably going to come later for many of you, but you can click the button on the left of the three, back to normal. And in the lower right corner we see a zoom slider bar. As you work with Excel, a lot of times, you don't care what the actual percent is, you want to see the data larger, so you can drag this rightward. You can also click the little plus to the right, zoom in, or the minus on the left, zoom out. And, of course, you can use the slider bar. When you click the minuses and pluses, it changes the percent view by 10%. Now, most of the time you don't really care. You just either trying to see the data larger or, as I switch to the worksheet on the far left, the home products revenue, maybe we want to see more of the entire worksheet. There's a table to the right. Let's zoom out a little bit. Now, at certain points it becomes too small to read, at other points perhaps it's so large that you can't see too much as you zoom in. But feel free to use that frequently and easily. It has no impact whatsoever on the data, but it does facilitate how you view the worksheet. If somebody's looking over your shoulder to see this data better, you probably want to zoom in like this. That's pretty large, or this way, that's easier to use. So many features here in the status bar at the bottom of the screen. And, once again, remember that when you highlight numerical cells, for example, I'm interested in just bamboo towels here, I'm highlighting this data, I want to know what the total sales are there, $314,000. If you're not seeing the numbers you want down here, remember simply right-click and adjust the presence of these checks. At different times you might want to come back here too and reconsider what's being shown and what isn't being shown. The status bar located at the bottom of the screen, very helpful. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe our channel. Thanks for watching, goodbye.